I'm doing great. How are you? Blessed. Honestly, so blessed. That is the script. Those are the words. I say them maybe 20, 30 times a day. It doesn't matter if my car broke down, if my rent just went up, or if I feel a hollow ache in the center of my chest that feels like a black hole collapsing. The answer is always, I'm doing great. Welcome to the regime of the smile. In my world, and I suspect in yours too, negativity is not just an emotion, it is a compliance violation. We have been taught that our internal state is a project to be managed. If you are sad, you aren't just experiencing a human emotion, you are failing at mindset. You aren't manifesting correctly, you are lowering the vibe. It starts exactly at 4:45 a.m. For the last 800 days, I have the streak on my app to prove it. I have forced myself awake at this ungodly hour, not because I have work to do, but because I need that extra time to set my intentions. I need those hours to force my brain into submission before the world wakes up. The autopilot engages before I even open my eyes. I don't wake up. I reframe. My alarm goes off and my brain immediately scrambles to find the silver lining. I'm tired becomes, I am grateful for a warm bed. I am anxious about the meeting becomes, I am excited for new challenges. I act as my own PR agency, spinning every single thought before it has a chance to settle in my body. I have weaponized gratitude against myself. I scroll through Instagram, and the mandate is everywhere. Good vibes only. Happiness is a choice. No bad days. It's a relentless propaganda of joy. It tells me that if I am suffering, it is because I am not trying hard enough to be happy. It tells me that my grief, my anger, my exhaustion, these aren't valid signals for my nervous system. They are toxins. They are waste products that I need to cleanse, meditate, and affirm away. So I police my own thoughts. I am the warden of my own mind. If a thought like "I hate this job" enters the chat, I immediately arrest it. I replace it with "I'm lucky to have income." I don't let myself feel the weight of things. I just keep inflating the balloon of positivity, bigger and bigger. It's efficient in a way. People love it. They love that I'm low maintenance. They love that I'm always the sunshine. I am the perfect employee, the perfect partner, the perfect friend. I am a frictionless surface. Nothing sticks to me. I reflect everything back with a shiny, happy gloss. But have you ever noticed how heavy a smile is when you have to hold it for 16 hours straight? It requires a tremendous amount of muscular tension. My jaw aches, my neck is stiff. I am exhausted not from the tragedies of life, but from the labor of pretending they don't exist. I'm running a marathon of denial, and I am terrified that if I stop smiling even for a second, the whole world will see that I am not high vibe. I am just human, and apparently that's not allowed anymore. We are living in a culture that has pathologized being human. We treat sadness like a virus and anger like a crime. So how many of us are automatically happy right now? How many of you are terrified to admit that you're not okay? Because you're afraid you'll be labeled toxic for simply being in pain. The glitch happened last Tuesday. It wasn't a catastrophe. The sky didn't fall. It was a conversation. A simple 3-minute conversation that my brain can't seem to delete. My best friend, let's call him David, sat across from me at a coffee shop. He had just lost his job. Not just a job, but a career he'd built for a decade. He was crushed. He looked small, gray, defeated. He was pouring his heart out, telling me about his fear, his mortgage, his shame. He was bleeding out emotionally right in front of me. And I went into fix IT mode. The autopilot took the wheel before I could stop it. I didn't listen. I waited for my turn to speak. And when I did, I didn't offer empathy. I offered slogans. I heard myself saying things like, rejection is just redirection, David, and everything happens for a reason. And imagine the doors that are opening for you right now. I was smiling, I was nodding, I was reciting the captions from my own Instagram feed, trying to raise his vibration. And then, David looked at me. He didn't look comforted. He didn't look inspired. He looked lonely. He looked at me with this mixture of horror and exhaustion, and he said quietly,
"Can you just stop? Can you just let this be bad for 1 second? Please stop trying to fix me."
That was the glitch. For a split second, the positivity protocol crashed. The script failed. I froze. I sat there with my half-eaten croissant and my Good Vibes t-shirt, and I realized something terrifying. I wasn't connecting with him. I was abandoning him. By refusing to acknowledge the darkness of his situation, I wasn't bringing him into the light. I was leaving him alone in the dark. I drove home in silence that day. No podcasts, no audiobooks. And a thought, a rogue, illegal thought, crept into my mind. It wasn't a shiny, affirmations-based thought. It was heavy. It was jagged. The thought was, maybe things don't happen for a reason. Maybe sometimes life is just cruel. And maybe I am furious about it. It felt electric to think that. It felt dangerous. It felt like I had just smuggled a weapon through airport security. I am furious. But almost immediately, the immune system of my mind kicked in. The guilt rushed in like a flood. Don't think that, the inner voice hissed. Anger creates cortisol. Anger attracts negative outcomes. You are manifesting failure. I tried to push the thought down. I tried to cover it up with a gratitude list. I'm grateful for my car. I'm grateful for the rain. But the glitch had already happened. I had tasted the forbidden fruit of a negative emotion. And the terrifying part wasn't how bad it felt. The terrifying part was how real it felt. For that 1 second in the coffee shop, David was human, and I was a robot malfunctioning. And now I can't stop looking at the code. I can't stop wondering. If I'm not allowed to feel bad, am I actually feeling anything at all? Or am I just simulating a human life? That little thought is still there. It's a small crack in the windshield. You can ignore a crack for a while. You can drive for miles and pretend it's not there. But we all know what happens when you hit a bump at high speed. The glass doesn't just stay cracked, it shatters. I've started to look at my own life like I'm watching a movie starring someone else. Someone who looks like me, talks like me, but definitely isn't me. Last night I scrolled through my own Instagram feed for an hour. I looked at this person. There I am holding a smoothie. Caption, fueling the body, fueling the soul, #grateful. There I am at a team retreat arm, around a colleague I can't stand. Caption, teamwork makes the dream work, so lucky to work with these legends. I looked at those photos and I felt nothing. Actually, that's not true. I felt a distinct sense of nausea. I felt like I was looking at a stranger. A very successful, very happy, very annoying stranger. This is the dissonance. It's the gap between the brand and the ghost. The brand is the version of me that the world sees. The brand is resilient. The brand is anti-fragile. The brand meditates at 5 a.m. and journals about abundance. The brand is what I've been told I need to be to survive in this economy. Because let's be honest, nobody hires a sad person. Nobody promotes the person who says, I'm struggling to find meaning. We are incentivized to be happy. Our livelihood depends on our likability. But then there is the ghost. The ghost is the person living inside this skin suit. The ghost is tired. The ghost is cynical. The ghost thinks that maybe abundance is a lie used to sell courses. The conflict isn't that I'm lying to you. The conflict is that I've started lying to myself so effectively that I don't know which voice is mine anymore. When I feel a flash of sadness, I don't just feel sad. I feel guilty for being sad. I feel like a fraud. I think, look at your life. You have food, shelter, health. How dare you be unhappy? You ungrateful brat. I gaslight myself before anyone else has the chance to. It's a specific type of imposter syndrome. Usually we talk about imposter syndrome at work. I'm not smart enough to be here. But this is emotional imposter syndrome. It's the feeling that your smile is a forgery. It's the fear that if people saw the raw, unedited data of your brain, the judgment, the pettiness, the despair, they wouldn't just unfollow you. They would be horrified. I walk around waiting for someone to tap me on the shoulder and say, "We know. We know you're faking it. We know you're not actually high vibe. We know you're just terrified and pretending to be zen." It is exhausting to be two people at once. The brand has to keep performing harder and faster to cover up the noise the ghost is making. I have to post more inspirational quotes. I have to smile wider. Because if I stop, the dissonance might tear me apart. And I know I'm not the only one. I see it in your eyes too. We are a generation of excellent actors performing to an empty theater. Have you ever felt like an imposter in your own life? Have you ever felt that if you stopped performing happiness, the people who claim to love you might not actually like the real you at all? After the glitch in the coffee shop, I didn't just sit there. I did what we are trained to do. I reached out. I tried to debug the code. I thought, if I am malfunctioning, surely the experts can fix me. I booked an emergency session with my life coach, a woman who charges $300 an hour to tell me that my reality is a projection of my inner state. I sat on her beige sofa, wringing my hands, and I told her the truth. I told her about the crushing weight in my chest. I told her that I felt like a fraud. I told her that I was angry. Angry at the economy, angry at the hustle, angry at the sheer emptiness of it all. And she smiled. It wasn't a warm smile. It was a pitying smile. The kind of smile you give to a child who doesn't understand how the world works. She took a sip of her herbal tea and said the sentence that broke me. "It sounds like you're choosing to align with the scarcity narrative. You are vibrating at the frequency of lack. Until you raise your vibration, you will keep attracting these negative experiences." Let's pause and dissect that. Because that isn't just advice. That is psychological violence wrapped in namaste hands. This is the gaslight. Gaslighting is when someone manipulates you into questioning your own sanity. And our entire culture is currently gaslighting us on an industrial scale. The message is clear. Your suffering is not a reaction to a difficult world. Your suffering is a moral failure. If you are burnt out, it's not because your boss expects you to answer emails at 10 p.m. It's because you haven't mastered boundaries. If you are anxious about the climate, it's not because the planet is burning. It's because you're watching too much news and not protecting your peace. If you are lonely, it's not because we have built cities designed for isolation. It's because you haven't done the inner work to love yourself yet. They have privatized suffering. They have taken systemic structural problems and turned them into individual defects. Look at this. Happiness is a choice. No bad days. Positive vibes only. These aren't just captions. They are commands. They are telling you that if you are not happy, you are lazy. You aren't trying hard enough. You aren't meditating enough. You aren't journaling enough. I went back to work the next day, and I felt like I was walking through a minefield. I couldn't say I'm tired. I couldn't say this project is impossible. Because in this culture, negativity is treated like a contagious disease. If you admit you are struggling, people back away from you. They don't want to catch your low vibe. So I learned the new language. I learned to speak wellness. When I wanted to scream, I said, "I'm leaning into the discomfort." When I wanted to quit, I I said, I'm exploring my growth edge. When I felt like dying, I said, I'm in a season of transformation. I became fluent in the language of my own oppression. I thought I was fixing myself. I thought I was doing the work. I didn't realize that I was systematically dismantling my own internal warning system. I was cutting the wires to the fire alarm because the noise was annoying the neighbors. But the thing about fire alarms, you can cut the wire, you can silence the noise, but that doesn't put out the fire.
You can only ignore the fire alarm for so long before the roof actually caves in. For me, the collapse didn't happen during a crisis. I wasn't fired. I didn't get divorced. It happened on a Tuesday evening in the pasta aisle of a grocery store.
I was standing there looking at jars of marinara sauce. I needed to pick one. That was the task. Pick a sauce. But my brain just stopped. I looked at the brands, Rao's Prego Organic Basil Garlic, and I couldn't process the information. The text was swimming. I reached out to grab a jar, and my hand started to shake. It wasn't a nervous tremble. It was a violent, rhythmic spasm. I watched my own hand as if it belonged to someone else. I tried to command it. Grab the jar. My hand said no. The jar slipped. It hit the linoleum floor. Glass shattered. Red sauce exploded everywhere, splattering onto my white sneakers. In a normal world, I would have apologized. I would have laughed it off. I would have helped the clerk clean it up. That's what the brand would do. But I couldn't move. My knees buckled and I sank to the floor, right there in aisle 4. I sat in the broken glass and the sauce, and I started to weep. I don't mean the pretty single tear crying you see in movies. I mean, I was heaving. I was gasping for air like a drowning animal. I was making sounds I didn't know I was capable of making. People were staring. A woman asked if I was okay. I couldn't even look at her. It wasn't about the sauce. It was the 800 days of waking up at 4:45 a.m. It was the thousands of fake smiles. It was the positivity mandate choking the life out of me. It was the sheer crushing weight of trying to be a successful human in a system designed to grind us into dust. My body had staged a coup. For years, my mind had been the dictator, whipping my body to work harder, smile brighter, endure more. Just one more email, just one more rep, just one more day. And finally, my body pulled the emergency brake. It said, if you won't stop, I will make you stop. This is what burnout actually is. We think burnout is just needing a vacation. No, a vacation fixes tiredness. Burnout is not tiredness. Burnout is existential bankruptcy. It is your soul declaring a strike because the working conditions of your life have become uninhabitable. I lay on that grocery store floor, humiliated, covered in tomato sauce, and for the first time in my life, I didn't care. I didn't care about my reputation. I didn't care about my vibration. I didn't care about being a high performer. The exhaustion was so absolute, so total, that it washed away the fear. And in that total collapse, I felt something strange. I felt relief. It was over. The charade was over. I was broken. I was messy. I was negative. And the world was still spinning. I realized I didn't have to hold the sky up anymore. I could just let it fall. We spend our whole lives terrified of hitting rock bottom. But there is a secret about rock bottom that no one tells you. It's a solid foundation. It's the first time in years you are standing on something real. There is someone watching this right now who is terrified of this moment. You are holding it together by a thread. You are smiling through the panic attacks. You are thinking, I can't stop. If I stop, I die. I want you to know, you won't die. You'll just break. And breaking is the beginning of healing. If you are tired, if you are bone-deep exhausted of pretending to be okay when you are not, please hit the like button. Do it as a signal.
Do it to say, I surrender. Let's see how many of us are finally ready to stop running. The days after the supermarket crash were strange. I expected an intervention. I expected the world to punish me for breaking. But the world just went on. And in that silence, I started to conduct a little experiment. I called it the Rebellion of Truth. It wasn't a loud revolution. I didn't flip a table at a board meeting. I didn't move to a cabin in the woods. It started with something much smaller and much more terrifying. I stopped apologizing for not smiling. It started on a Tuesday morning Zoom call. Usually my face is a mask of eager engagement. I nod until my neck hurts. I smile until my cheeks cramp. But this time I just sat there. I listened. I was professional. But I didn't perform joy. After the meeting, my boss messaged me. Is everything okay? You looked a bit intense today. Old me would have panicked. Old me would have typed, OMG, yes, so sorry, just tired loving the project. But the rebellion had begun. I looked at the cursor blinking, and I typed, I'm focused, just listening deeply today. Send. No apology, no explanation, no emoji. It felt electric. It felt illegal. My heart was pounding like I had just shoplifted. I was reclaiming the energy I used to spend on managing other people's comfort. Then the rebellion grew. I deleted the meditation app that gamified my breathing. I unfollowed the high-vibe influencers who made me feel inadequate. And then came the big one. The word I had been afraid to say for a decade. No! A friend asked me to go to a manifestation workshop on a Saturday. I said, no, I'm not up for that. She asked, why it will raise your vibration. I said, I'm actually okay with my vibration right now. I'm going to stay home and stare at the wall. I disappointed her, and the sky didn't fall. This is the secret that the positivity mandate hides from us. Disappointing people is not a fatal error. It is a survival skill. If you try to be light and love to everyone, you end up being heavy and dark to yourself. You become a public utility, a battery that everyone else draws from until you are dead. The rebellion is simply the act of closing the shop. It is putting up a sign that says, under construction, not open for business. I started letting myself feel bad. When I was sad, I didn't try to reframe it. I just sat on my couch and felt sad. I let the wave hit me. And do you know what I discovered? Emotions are tunnels. If you go through them, you get to the other side. But if you try to positive thinking your way over them, you just get stuck in the entrance forever. I am not happy right now. I am not thriving. I am tired. I am healing. I'm a bit cynical. But for the first time in 800 days, I am not a liar. And that feels better than happy ever did. But there is a price for this truth. When you stop playing the game, the people who are still playing it get very uncomfortable. They don't like seeing someone walk out of the casino. I found my voice. But now I have to use it to tell you the truth about why we were all forced to play this game in the first place. Why does the world hate our sadness so much? Have you ever asked yourself that? Why is a grieving person treated like a hazardous material? Why is an angry employee treated like a virus? It's not because they want us to be happy. That's the Yulai. It's because they want us to be efficient. I finally understood the truth during my rebellion. The positivity mandate isn't a philosophy of well-being. It is a tool of compliance. It is a sedative administered to a population that has every right to be screaming. Think about it. If you believe that your burnout is just a mindset issue, you won't demand better working hours. If you believe that your poverty is just low vibration, you won't demand a fair wage. If you believe that your loneliness is a failure of self-love, you won't notice that we have built a society that makes connection nearly impossible. Toxic positivity is the perfect defense mechanism for a broken system. It
puts the burden of the entire world's chaos squarely on your individual shoulders. It says the world is fine. You are the one who needs to meditate more. But here is the raw, unpolished truth. You are not broken. Your anxiety is not a malfunction. It is a reasonable reaction to an unreasonable world. Your anger is not a toxin. It is a boundary defense. It is your soul saying enough. Your grief is not low vibe. It is the price of your love. It is proof that you actually cared about something. We have been tricked into trying to become invincible. We want to be bulletproof. We want to be these shiny, happy avatars who never feel pain. But invincibility is not human. Robots are invincible. Rocks are invincible. Humans, we bleed, we break, we feel. I used to think that my negative thoughts were weeds in the garden of my mind. I tried to pull them out, poison them, pave over them. But I realized that those weeds were actually roots. They were anchoring me to reality. Without my sadness, I have no depth. Without my anger, I have no justice. Without my fear, I have no courage. People who are trying to sell you endless joy are selling you a lobotomy. They want you numb. The pain, real honest pain, is the sensation of coming back to life after years of anesthesia. I am done trying to be a good vibes warrior. I would rather be a messy, complicated, grieving, angry, joyful, real human being. Because the light doesn't enter through your perfection. It enters through your cracks. And if you keep plastering over those cracks with fake smiles, you're sealing yourself inside the dark forever. So let's stop performing. Let's drop the script. Let's look at the wreckage of our real lives and say, yeah, this hurts. This is hard. Because that admission is the first time we are actually telling the truth. And the truth is the only thing that can set us free. I want to ask you a question, and I want you to answer it without the filter, without the brand, without the autopilot. What is the one negative emotion you have been hiding from everyone because you are afraid of bringing down the vibe? Are you grieving a loss no one asks about? Are you furious at your job? Are you just incredibly lonely? Give me the lesson you learned from it. Just give me the truth. Leave it in the comments. Let's turn that comment section into the only place on the internet where we don't have to pretend. So here we are, the morning after the revolution. I woke up today at 7 a.m., not 4:45. I felt tired. My back hurt a little. I had a looming deadline for work that made my stomach tighten. And do you know what I did? Nothing. I didn't try to manifest the headache away. I didn't journal about how grateful I was for the back pain. I just made coffee, sat in the chair, and said to myself, okay, I am tired. I am stressed. And that is allowed. This is the real normal. It's not a fairy tale ending. I didn't quit my job to become a goat farmer in the Alps. I still have bills. I still have an annoying inbox. I still have days where I feel like the sky is gray and heavy. The difference is, the war is over. I have signed a peace treaty with my own humanity. I have stopped trying to edit my life in real time. I have stopped treating my negative emotions like intruders that need to be evicted. Now, I treat them like guests. When anxiety knocks on the door, I don't barricade it. I say, come in, sit down. You can stay for a while, but you don't get to drive the car. When sadness visits, I don't force it to wear a happy mask. I just let it sit there and drink tea with me until it's ready to leave. I realize that I don't want to be happy all the time. Happiness is cheap. Happiness is fleeting. Happiness is a commercial break. What I want is to be whole. To be whole means to be a container large enough to hold it all. The joy and the grief, the ambition and the exhaustion, the love and the anger. Being whole means you don't have to amputate parts of yourself just to fit into society's narrow definition of a good person. Since I stopped performing, something amazing started to happen. My relationships changed. When I stopped saying I'm fine and started saying I'm actually having a really hard time, the people around me stopped performing too. They dropped their shoulders. They exhaled. We stopped trading slogans and started trading truths. I found out that my neighbor, the one with the perfect lawn, is terrified of aging. I found out that my confident boss is going through a messy divorce. We are all just walking around with our cracked mugs, trying not to spill. And there is so much dignity in that. There is so much beauty in the mess, if you stop trying to Photoshop it. The positivity mandate told me that if I wasn't smiling, I was failing. The truth told me that if I am feeling, I am living. I am not a project to be optimized. I'm not a problem to be solved. I'm a person. And for the first time in a long time, that is enough. If you are exhausted from the hustle, if you are done with the good vibes only police, then you are in the right place. This channel is for the real normal. We don't do perfection here. We do truth. If you are ready to stop optimizing your life and actually start living it, scars and all, click that subscribe button. If you're wondering how to handle the guilt that comes when you first start saying no, I made a video about that right here. It's called The Art of Disappointing People. I think you'll like it. I'll see you there.